Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Okay, the subject of this video is World War III. We're here. We're at World War III right now. Of course, World War III has been going on for some time. There's no straight demarcation point. There's no straight demarcation line so nice and tidy as you see in the history books, such as Pearl Harbor was the event that started America's involvement in World War II. No, it wasn't. It was a contributor, but it wasn't the sole reason. And World War III has been going on for some time. I like to put the date around 2008 and acceleration of hostilities around 2014 when the United States started putting its surrogates on the borders of China and Russia. That's an Obama thing. Now, what we have right now is we are on the evening. We're in the evening. We're on the eve. We're sitting on the eaves of nuclear conflagration. It's a serious time. And I want to throw some words out here because all the other YouTube videos and everybody are talking about the blowing up of Nord Stream 1 and 2, and they're talking about, well, Russia blew up their own gas lines, because they're bad. And Russia's threatening nuclear war because, Putin's crazy. And, China let loose the virus, coronavirus, because, they hate their people. I swear to God, the American media is so damn predictable. They say he did it when they're the ones that's actually doing it. In every fucking case, it's just the situation. And I'm sure most of people can see that, but I gotta tell you guys, I am constantly surprised at how stupid Americans have become and how dumbed down people in Europe have become down. I gotta tell you, it is downright astounding to me. What do you know? Now, eventually, there's going to be nuclear weapons flying. The United States, led by President Biden. Actually, it's being led by Victoria Nuland. But if you want to believe that President Biden is running all this shit show, you can. Here's a video of President Biden in case you don't know what I'm talking about.
9 wars that the United States is in.
Who talked about blowing up the pipeline and then it happened?
Right. Yeah, saying that we're going to blow up the pipeline, and then how does that happen? Is he the one in charge? Is he the one? He's the one. We're heading towards a nuclear war with Russia, and he's the one in charge of these codes? Now, I don't think that he is. This is my point. I think that there's clearly a deep state that's taken over and is running the show, and it has. We know that it has for many, many years, but it is arguably right now in full force, and that's why they love the guy so much, because they can do anything that they want right now. It's like having a substitute teacher in school. You can do anything. And we saw that with General Mark Milley, right? We saw that during the end of Trump's era, when he admitted basically that there were things in place that if Trump tried to do things, we would basically step in. Basically admitting that, no, the deep state has it. Like, you're going to try to go and do certain things, we've got it. So clearly they are not running the White House. Biden is not running the White House. I mean, you saw this video the other day. This is just from a few days ago. He was doing this Global Funds speech, and then he doesn't know where he's going. And he gets lost on stage, and they have to guide him off. Watch this.
Mr. President, thank you. At the end of such a momentous event, the word thank you seems kind of inadequate. But for all the millions whose lives will be saved, for the communities where life will be transformed, thank you. So thank you, President Biden, for your outstanding
Where do I go? Where do I go? What do I do? Really sad.
Yeah.
Yep, that dawdling old man with dementia who doesn't even know what the hell's going on is supposed to be, it's late stage dementia, by the way, is supposed to be making all these decisions, and he's really, really pushing, for a full-scale World War III. Well, those are neocons. Neoconservatives. They're not even conservatives, they're neocons. They are sort of like the reincarnation of Hitler. They're pretty fucked up people. They believe that cleansing the world will make a better ecological footprint for the rest of the critters. I don't really see how they figure that one out, but they don't really think right. Anyways, I did another video about Victoria Nuland, and she's running the show, or people who have the same thought process as her. We can't say. My gut feeling, the commander's gut feeling, it's not even gut feeling, commander's intel, is that it's a cabal of some people that's never in the news. Take it as you will. And these people are going to just fucking trash the world, believing that they will survive through the transition period. Can't see how they're going to do it, but I don't think like these people do. Now, the reason why I'm saying that we are on the cusp is because it's all there. The warnings have been set out. The elections have been held in eastern Ukraine, and they want to be part of Russia because they speak Russian, they got Russian history and all this. And of course the United States is saying, that doesn't count, it's a sham election, blah, 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 blah. Of course they're going to say that. They're going to say all kinds of lies. Right? The only thing America's got going for it is it's got a half-assed military. But even that, people won't last forever. And right now they are just pushing and prodding, and they're gearing up for World War III. I can tell you right now, it's clear as day, the United States is expecting a tactile nuclear strike, probably false flag, but I don't know what the fuck, around Ukraine. They're going to blame it on Russia. They blame everything on Russia. See that? That's Russian. See that? That's Russian. See that? That's Russian. See that? That's Russian. They're going to blame anything on Russia. So the United States is going to do its stuff, and it's going to blame it on Russia. United States, make no mistake, the United States has been shelling the nuclear power plants. Those fucking conscripts, they don't know jack shit about firing these HIMARS, okay? So it's the United States has been firing these things with nuclear weapons. Oh, Russia's destroying, Russia is banging its own nuclear power plants. It's like, y'all gotta be fucking idiots to believe the American narrative. But, boom, 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 they throw it out at you. It's that Vault 7 that I've been telling you all about. Anyways. Yeah, it's pretty damn close. I wish it wasn't. Jesus Christ, I wish it really wasn't. But United States is hell-bent, and NATO, which is a United States proxy, is just hell-bent on causing World War III, and they believe it's going to be local to Europe. I think that they are anticipating tactical strikes in Ukraine and maybe some bleed over in Europe, but they're going to be safe in New York City and Washington, D.C., don't you know? Oh, at least that's what they're thinking. I'm going to tell you, Russia would be stupid to fall for that game. Russia would be absolutely idiotically stupid to fall for that game. Positively, blindly idiotic to fall for that. You want to get to the source, solve the problem. If you've got a hole in the roof and it's making all the couches and everything moldy and bugs and rats and lice and all kinds of stuff's moving in, What do? You get a bunch of lice killer, you put some mouse traps in? No, you fix the hole in the roof first. Who is the hole in the roof going on with this Ukraine thing? It's the United States. So who do you fight? It's the United States. Duh. Gotta tell you. I know, I can be a little freaky deaky here. I'm sure China will be dragged into this fucking morass. I hope it isn't. But I gotta tell you, I am living in a Chinese version of Mayberry RFD. I moved out of the tiny city of Zhuhai, and it's a city, but it's a tiny city, to a even tinier village. I live in one of those ghost cities that you heard so much about, right? Ghost cities. China's wasting all its time building these ghost cities. Well, I showed you videos. It doesn't look like they're ghost cities any longer. But anyways, but I never really gotten around to showing any of you sort of what it's like in my little tiny village. So I'm living in sort of like the Chinese version of Mayberry RFD. Here's a little clip, okay? This is about 6:30 in small town China. You can see how mellow it is and relaxed. It's sort of like Mayberry RFD. In China, they still have small storefronts. I made this yesterday. Of course, if you read Quora and whatever, they're still talking about there's widespread famine and economic collapse in China, and people are about ready to overtopple Xi Jinping because he's house arrested, and there's going to be a general in charge and all kinds of like. Where do you guys come up with this nonsense? Really, are you guys Xi Jinping? I mean, what the fuck, man? I mean, really, what the fuck? You just saw what it's like in China. Everything's fine. Everything's calm. Everything's cool. I don't know where you guys get off believing that nonsense. You must be fucking idiots. I'm sorry, guys. If you want to know about China, you read Chinese media in Chinese. Use Google Translate or whatever to translate it into English. But you don't ever read American bloggers, American news writing about China. They don't know shit. For the most part. The ones that have lived in China then come out right. They're pretty good. But the ones that have never set foot out of their county don't know jack shit. So, anyways, I'm glad I'm here. But you know, World War III will affect me, unfortunately, and affect my kids and affect my family. I'm not keen on it. I want it all to go away. World War III is going to be in pockets. We say it's going to be global, but it's really not going to be global. It's not going to be homogenized. You know, like milk is homogenized, you mix everything up together and heat it. No. It'll be an aggregate. There'll be pockets of nastiness and pockets of tranquility, and I'm hoping that I'm in a pocket of tranquility. Commander says that I'm in a pocket of tranquility. I'm going to have to believe him, or believe it. But that's how you have it. Same thing for you folks in the States. There's going to be pockets of relative calm, and there's going to be pockets that's going to be hell on earth. Same thing if you're in Ukraine right now. There's places where fighting is going on, and then there's places it's calm. So just keep in mind that you're going to be dealing with this World War III fiasco, and complete lunatics are running the United States. Let's cue the picture of Victoria Nuland, because she is pretty much the person who's running the United States right now. One of the things you have to notice from this picture of her is she would never be elected to any position, just like Mike Pompeo would never be elected to any position. Their views are way too radical. But the oligarchy, the American oligarchy, loves them. And American oligarchy runs the United States, so that's why they're running things. And they have this blind faith in their ability. I think that everybody in the States are completely delusional, believing their lies, believing the echo chamber that they have created. You know, China's going to collapse any day now. Russia, Putin's got brain cancer, blah. You know, they're believing these lies. And they're all reinforced by Vault 7 machinations. Did you know? And so they're believing this stuff. Did you know? I saw this morning, this guy had this CIA guy up there trying to bend backwards, trying to explain why Russia blew up its own pipeline. And you know, that's the way rhetoric works. You just throw stuff out, throw stuff out. Let me tell you, it's very easy for Russia to turn off the oil pipeline. There's a valve and you close it like this. Usually you close it to the right or to the left. You close it. There. Pipeline is closed, no problem. Then you turn off the pumps. It's a red button. You go boop, and it turns off. That's it. That's what Russia did. But somebody has this idea, which is the United States, obviously, to destroy it so that it can't be repaired. So this is over and above of turning things off. And somehow we're supposed to think that Russia would do this? Not even worth my time. It's not worth my time for this fucking argument. If you believe that, what do I say when I say somebody who believes the most ridiculous things in the world? I'm not talking about UFOs because they exist. I'm not talking about little green men because they exist. Well, they're not green, but they do exist. I'm not talking about this and that. I'm just talking about, you know, really weird stuff. Like Obama is a reptilian. You know, they believe this stuff. They believe that dollar bills have microtechnology that's going to read your brain and affect you. Just really kind of weird stuff. One of the big things is that nuclear weapons don't exist. And that Nagasaki and Hiroshima were just firebombed. How many billions were spent on America to build up its ICBMs, SLBMs forces, and military MRVMs? But that's all supposed to be dummies. They're all supposed to be just boxes of sand inside of fake missiles, I suppose. You know, I've been doing way too much digression. I'm really sorry about this. I'm not very happy because of World War III. It's just something I really don't want to see happen. So I want to really, the purpose of this whole video is to explain why I believe it's on the cusp right now. Basically, we're going to start with point number one. Point number one. Point number one is that the United States created this entire situation in the Ukraine, and that it is part of the RAND plan for global dominance. Wipe out Russia, then attack China. Okay? There's no plan B for that. Okay? So reason number one is that you have to put oil on it. You have to put oil in the fire. You have to put kerosene on the fire. You can't back down from this. If you do, America goes to number 2, number 3, to number 19. Okay? So these people who are running the United States have this one singular chance to maintain global dominance. This is it. So that's point number one. Point number two, no matter how, whatever happens, more weapons, more munitions, more political statements, more yada, 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 no matter what, all that stuff is not important. What is important is that because of point one, point two means that it's going to be an acceleration, get worse and worse and worse until it crosses the worst possible threshold, which we tend to say is nuclear. Actually, I think it's full spectrum warfare, and the United States has been involved in it. They just stopped off on the nuclear aspect of it. But I'm pretty much saying that it's going to go nuclear, and that's point two. It will be crossed. This threshold will be crossed. That's my point two. I can't see how it's not going to be crossed because point one isn't backing down. So if you don't back something down, it's automatically hitting point two. Okay? Which brings me to point number three. The politicians believe that you can threaten and use all kinds of rhetoric and maybe even do a small little tactical nuclear device to show that we mean business. They actually believe that. The military planners don't. While they do have plans that they could have limited nuclear engagement, and that's one of the things that Trump's administration was kind of famous for. They were doing all kinds of studies for these minor nuclear weapons engagement where everything is kept tactical and then the enemy surrenders and everything's fine. That's not going to happen. This is going to go straight up to massive destruction of the United States in a nanosecond. The United States apparently doesn't believe that China has, or Russia has the dead hand system. It might just be marketing, who knows. Russia will obliterate the United States, completely destroy it. If you think the United States can rebuild after destruction, you've got your head in the sand. The United States can't build anything right now. What makes you think you're going to be able to rebuild when the United States is complete garbage dump? no gold reserves, no minerals, no skills. What makes you think you're going to be able to do that? Well, we'll destroy Russia. And that tells me you guys have no idea how big Russia is. So it's going to be straight. Point 3 is going straight to the throat. All right, now we have the Donbass is now part of Russia. Any attacks on it is going to be a lethal response back. And I think it's tomorrow that the formal ceremonies will put the Donbass as part of Russia again. After those ceremonies, anything the United States does, whether it's directly or through proxy, is going to be a lethal result out of Russia. That's just basic it. So that's point 3. It's going straight to full-on Armageddon. Now, point 4 is that Americans and many people in the West seem to think that, well, if the West is destroyed, the world is destroyed. The West is not the world. The West represents maybe 5% of the entire planet. It's small. So they're saying, but the world is going to be destroyed. The world that they know, the world that surrounds you, Hollywood and all that's going to be gone. The rest of the world's going to be fine. So point 4 is, like I said before, concentrated damage in certain areas, while other areas will remain unscathed. Which goes along to what the commander has to say, which is medium bads this time. As far as I'm understanding it, it's going to be less than medium bads. Less than medium bads. So take that as you will. I think it's a positive response, meaning that it's going to probably be less than medium bads. But the result is going to come out of it is going to be a new world. So let's talk about that as point 5. And point 5 is, whatever comes as a result of this world war, there will be a new world afterwards. And so that's pretty much what I'm saying, is that we're at the cusp of World War III, and depending upon where you're at and what's going on, it's a matter of your personal survival. That means you control your reality. I tell everybody, do your personal affirmations, get in touch with your higher spiritual selves. Be prudent and be old-fashioned. Act like your grandparents. Have a little garden, have a little larder, have alternative sources of heat. Don't rely on the electricity grid for heating. You know, my grandparents, they had a coal stove that you could also burn wood in. They also had electrical heating, and they had gas heating. So they had 4 different ways of heating their home. My parents says, it's a new world here. We'll just stick with electricity. And over the years, you know, I moved into apartments and this and that, and it's, you know, one kind of heating, that's it. Make sure that you have a well-stocked larder and you know how to handle things. Don't be of the idea that a lone wolf is how you survive in this situation. You don't. You survive as being part of a community. You can also be very versatile. I'm not saying be a full-on prepper. Okay? Full-on preppers are nice, juicy targets. But if you're if you live close to a city, you will expect a spill out from those cities, whether it's radioactive or not. hungry people. Right now, a lot of the people in the cities are kind of messed up. Imagine them being hungry. A lot of you in the audience have never gone without food. Not really. I have. You become desperate. Your body is screaming for food. This isn't a diet. You will do weird things. So I'm telling you, you think crazy ass people who are suddenly no longer having access to drugs, are used to being crazy ass, the system breaks down and the United States government is down and they are fucking hungry? You better have a plan. You've got to be part of your community. You know, one of the first things that happened in the United States when the coronavirus, they start doing some lockdowns in the States? Everybody from Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, they all moved into these state and national parks. It was like downtown rush hour. Is that your plan? You're going to live off the land because you visited once 5 years ago and you didn't see any other people? That's not a plan, guys. It's not a plan. If I'm wrong, well, then that's fine. But every indicator that I'm seeing is saying most people are in agreement that the United States is running amok, that it's got to fight the godless Putin because he must be stopped. It's like, and there's people who believe it. And they believe that America is going to somehow be lightly bruised, but will come out unscathed because they have made preparations. I don't know why they're so goddamn believing that they've made these preparations. Even if they made the preparations, the world that's going to result from this situation is not going to be one that they're going to want to be part of or will tolerate them. So let's go to the final phase. And this is the day after. After the avalanche of nuclear weapons destructions, I would say that the main belligerents will be devastated. I will also say that it will be the United States that will be hurting the most. Whether it was hitting the most by nuclear weapons or less doesn't matter. The United States can't handle one nuclear attack. Not even one conventional weapon attack on a city. It can't. The United States is like, have you been seeing the massive crime waves in the United States? America can't do jack shit right now. Full-scale nuclear holocaust would destroy the United States. I'm anticipating complete destruction of the United States and complete and selective destruction of Europe. Selective destruction of Europe. There will be damage throughout Western Russia, but not as bad as people think. And the projection right now, as it stands, is China's going to be unscathed right now. Somehow I don't believe that that's possible, but that's the ongoing projection. Because the United States needs China to help rebuild it. And Russia needs China to help rebuild it. So if you destroy your ability to rebuild, well, you know you pretty much fucked yourself. So looks like China's going to remain unscathed, but I don't know. Maybe they might enlist the help from Pakistan. Maybe the United States can ask Brazil to help rebuild it. Maybe ask Canada to rebuild it. In any event, the world that will result, aside from destruction, will be a complete reordering. Now, this is what those globalists want. They want a complete reordering, only they're going to be in charge. If there's a global war, there's going to be a reordering. And no, those people are not going to be in charge. Chances are they're going to be hunted down and killed. That's probably what's going to happen. And they'll say, well, I'm going to die for the good cause to make the world continue in democracy, or whatever ideological nonsense they're smoking. Don't know. I don't know. I don't really care. These people are so out of the mere fact that they're playing with war games. They should have given that up when they were 5 years old. Okay, so they're obviously got some problems. We don't know what's going to happen, but my guess here is that most of the rest of the world will avoid problems. If the conflict starts to pull other people into the sphere of influences, those nations that do get involved will be destroyed as well. If, say, Australia says, we're going to fight for American democracy, you're going to start seeing destroyed cities. If Korea says, well, we're going to support the United States, and boom. So, yeah, that's the situation, guys. That's the situation. Like I said, I don't know the full situation. I'm not a futurist, though there are some futurists that have been for the last 20 years saying that China is going to collapse any day now. They've been saying that for 20, 37 years. You'd think that being a futurist, they would know a little bit, right? But, they just go over and get a title and put it on there. It's just like, who the head of the World Bank who says, oh, boo, I didn't know. I never figured that printing money would cause inflation. Boo, boo. So, titles mean nothing. One of the things when I went to university is I saw a lot of kids that really didn't do anything, and when they went to school they didn't do anything, but their parents were very fantastically rich, got them a position at the university. They didn't have to do anything. They didn't even have to study. They didn't have to take the test. They would get straight A's. They just partied away. It's just one big non-stop party paid by mom and dad. I remember these guys. Fucking assholes. So these people are now who's running the United States right now. And obviously they have some weird ideas. And we got to ride them out. So this summer, that's complete overview of my thoughts on the cusp of World War III. Hopefully it won't happen until after this Chinese holiday that's coming up. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy myself. And you all take care, people, because, well, I know you will. Take care, man. Because I believe in you.
时代脉搏，千年的梦萦绕着，遥远的歌翻开了古老诗册，轻轻地挥洒笔墨，脚下的路绽放出花开万朵，最初的梦没变过，朝着东方翻腾起心头血热，要留下新的传说，不忘记曾许下的承诺，保持着眼睛里的炙热，向前看万里征途辽阔，身后有最坚实的依托。
同说慌慌张张，维系不上前。我风风火火，管他许多斗宝一老拳。我虎头虎脑，不卑不亢，踏向前。这就是范儿龙腾虎跃，开启新一年。我呼心一开，笔墨纸砚台。我红爪一挥，心潮转离开。我不担气概，披棘生态来。我呼气接风，一次风快哉。纵横的河流淌过时代脉搏，千年的梦萦绕
到水果。脚下的路绽放出花开花朵，最初的梦没变过。朝着东方翻腾起心头血热，要留下新的传说。平凡的生活什么可学？这故事总要书写，对生活总要热烈。自己的生活，新的一年，过往的值得凝结，全新的开花迎接。
虎头一摇，精神抖擞，虎躯一震，雄威气战，真乃是虎虎生
世界的舞台从容登上台，时代的浩海蛟龙潜入海，梦想的夜空星河难入怀，呼吸中国范儿是我的姿态。昨天的风吹散了从前的风，今天就在我心中。明天的歌要留给时间唱诵，迎着风海阔天空。昨天的梦追寻着从前的梦，今天就在我心中。明天的路走过了春夏秋冬，我大步虎虎生风。昨天的人穿越过山海相拥，今天你我再重逢。我们迎着温暖的天边的红，相拥在世界之东。
落印在枯燥，定筋骨在咆哮，沉睡的王朝让我重拾骄傲，只敢放肆来唱反调，在我面前叫嚣。我继续开始燃烧血气那汤道，是树来讥笑，自纵下起微笑，有海放锻造，是为汉人的潮。翻身祷告烟雾缭绕，夜战八方破晓，我力道无法预料，但是都看不到。冷风如影翻水绕快树梢，怒气冲冠街道一声呼啸，我那手车过飘荡旧照，才是早已微醺的血草。空气中肃杀的味道弥漫着在笼罩，顶部不抖头不了，在东方一角，要你知道武林中我才是主角。我双手会烫到，狠心交互任我逍遥，你的生命太过潦草，伤痕诉说我的荣耀。我双手会烫到，舔舐着上扬的嘴角，你的尊严呼吸不到，你来不及跪地求饶。我双手会烫到，去书写当风的狂潮，用我最拒绝的孤傲，将你结束在下一秒。我双手会烫到，热血狂烧，仰天长啸，令我夹在风中笑笑，原来英雄只能寂寥。落印在枯燥，定筋骨在咆哮，沉睡的王朝让我重拾骄傲，只敢放肆来唱反调，在我面前叫嚣。我继续开始燃烧血气那汤道，是树来讥笑，在纵下起微笑，有海放锻造，是为汉人的潮。翻身祷告烟雾缭绕，夜战八方破晓，我力道无法预料，但是都看不到。冷风如影拍水绕快树梢，怒气冲冠街道一声呼啸，我那手车过飘荡旧照，才是早已微醺的血草。空气中肃杀的味道弥漫着在笼罩，顶部不抖头不了，在东方一角，要你知道武林中我才是主角。我双手会烫到，狠心交互任 下，你我双手会烫到，热血狂烧，仰天长啸，命我夹在风中潇潇，原来英雄只能寂寥。